Hi everyone, Heather here with astrologywithheather.com, and I am back with another weekly forecast. This one is for Monday, March 30th, all the way through to Sunday, April 5th of 2020. And this is a very big week in the astrology. This is probably one of the most critical, important weeks we're going to be experiencing this year, although there are going to be a lot of really critical, pivotal moments in time. Just looking at the astrology for the year ahead, this one is pretty significant. We have a lot of really major transits involving some of these outer planets that will be impacting us on a global scale a lot this week, but especially on an individual level. We're going to be experiencing Mars moving into Aquarius and coming into an exact conjunction with Saturn, which has just moved into the sign of Aquarius at 0 degrees in Aquarius at the start of this week. And this is going to feel like an energy of frustration. Anytime you have Mars in a conjunction with Saturn, it's this sort of hurry up and wait energy where you feel like you really want to push forward with something and you just can't quite make it happen. And so there can be a lot of frustration. There can be a lot of roadblocks that come up to us making the progress that we want to make as quickly as we want to make it in the area of our life that's being impacted in this way. Moving on from that, there's going to be some really powerful energy happening later this week with the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction coming exact. So while in one area we're going to be feeling like we're stalling out or we're fighting up against some sort of roadblock or some sort of authority figure, or maybe we're fighting against this energy of having to be quarantined and having to stay indoors and having to sort of put parts of our lives and our plans on hold, and that's going to feel really extra frustrating this week. So on the one hand, we have that energy going, but on the other hand, we have this Pluto conjunction to Jupiter, which is going to cause incredible transformations in the area of our lives that's being impacted by the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction. And so you'll see huge reversals of fate, huge reversals of fortune. One of the things I've been predicting for a while now with the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction is like mass redistributions of wealth, where people are who are already wealthy, obviously, are getting wealthier, in the midst of this crisis. But people are going to be losing money, and some people who, maybe don't have as much money are going to be having, financial windfalls and huge reversals of fortune in the other direction as well. This could go not just for finances. This could happen in any area of our life that's being impacted, where all of a sudden we realize something. We have this incredible burst of energy and inspiration that causes us to have to transform something, that helps us to figure out what we truly and deeply need, want, and desire in the area of life being impacted, to the extent where we're just no longer able to continue on with the way things were, with the status quo. It's like it's unbearable to keep going the way that we've been going. And so we have to transform, we have to change, we have to do something different. And that's going to be a big part of this energy this week. This is an energy where we can heavily increase our focus to the point where we can become just laser focused and obsessed with whatever it is we're trying to manifest and create or get to the bottom of or understand in our lives right now. And so this is an incredible energy for us to have these like huge surges of energy, these huge surges in our ability to maintain this steady progress in this like force of will. Our psychic powers can be much more prevalent and much more enhanced under this influence as well. And this is a huge manifestation energy where it's almost like you draw in the things that you want to create like a magnet with Pluto in this conjunction with Jupiter. Pluto's being expanded on, and Pluto is this energy that's either very magnetic and very repulsive. If there's anything in our lives that we truly don't want, need, and desire, but we're trying to tell ourselves that we do, like maybe we lost a job or we lost a contract or we lost something important to us that we had these emotional and psychological attachments to. Maybe those attachments were fear-based or survival-based, or maybe they were attachments based on the fact that this is something that we built up and that we worked really hard for, and that did serve a really important purpose in our lives at some point. And we're trying to just go back to the way things were. But if you deep down inside don't want it to go back to the way things were, it absolutely won't. It won't. And so you're going to be pushing it away and repelling it right now. And that's part of this energy too. On the flip side of that, if you're focusing on what I would consider to be the wrong things, like focusing on fear, obsessing over things that you can't control, like what's going on in our society, like what other people are doing. I'm seeing a lot of people doing that, trying to police everyone and, trying to control what everybody else is doing in the way that they're behaving. And we see the government doing that too right now. So we see that playing out on all sorts of different levels. And if you're focusing on that, if you're focusing on the things that you can't control, the things that are not based on your behavior, your thoughts, what you're doing, then it's going to be a hard transit for you. So this is going to be a time where you need to work on relinquishing and surrendering control. You can only control what you do. You can only control what you think. You can only control the way that you behave and deal with this energy and what you focus on. And so that's going to be a pivotal energy. That's going to be like a really important energy with this Pluto-Jupiter conjunction, where we're going to have to really decide what we want to focus our attention on. Because if you're focusing on, first off, things that you can't control, that's not going to feel good, right? Because you're not going to change these things. But if you're focusing on like fear and anxiety and stressing out over all these dark, really sinister things that you think are going on, or whatever it is that's coming up in your life right now, you're going to draw that in. It's the same as the people that are focusing on the things that they want to create and manifest and that they're passionate about. This is a manifestation energy. This is a magnetic energy, and you're going to draw in and attract whatever it is you're focusing on 10 times more so than you normally would. And so you want to be careful where you're placing your energy and what you're thinking about and how you're utilizing this really strong, powerful force of Pluto with Jupiter. Because Pluto with Jupiter, of course, Jupiter is the great benefic, but Jupiter tends to just expand on whatever it's touching. It will protect you from having like the most negative manifestations of whatever it is that you're, drawing in and creating through your mental energy, through your psychic energy, and through your force of will and your focus. But, it also provides this potential for you to really create incredible opportunities, right? This is about the opportunities that we can create just by directing our energy, directing our intentions, directing our focus. And so that's what I highly recommend that people do, is focus on the things that you want to create. Focus on the opportunities amidst the hardship. Even if it's just a small thing, you can really get down into it and focus on it really intensely and grow and expand on that little tiny thing, that little tiny nugget of hope. And so I highly recommend finding that nugget and seeing how you can build upon that this week. The other thing too that's happening is that Mercury is going to be in a conjunction with Neptune. This is an energy that brings a lot more deception, a lot more disillusionment. This is an energy where we can't really trust what we're being told, because a lot of times we're being lied to or intentionally deceived. Even if we're not being intentionally deceived, we're more prone to misreading information or misunderstanding things. We're also more prone to lying or stretching the truth, even if we don't intend to. We're more prone to telling a story that's not necessarily real, or using our words in a way that's confusing, that misleads people. Again, it could be unintentional. And a lot of times with Neptune, it is unintentional, because we don't really know what we're saying or how other people are taking it. We feel like we're saying things in one way, and we're not necessarily conveying the information appropriately, so other people are taking it in a completely different way. This is also a time where there's going to be a lot of confusion around what's going on, what our plans are, what moves we need to make moving forward. And so that's going to be a part of this energy as well. This is something that almost came exact in February. And so for a lot of people, around the time in the middle of February, when Mercury stationed to go retrograde, it came very close to coming into a conjunction with Neptune, but it didn't actually come into a conjunction with Neptune, at least not exact. And so that's a time where it almost felt like we were onto something. We were envisioning something for our lives. We were envisioning these new plans. There was a message that was trying to come through visions, dreams, impressions, even daydreams could manifest something or bring something forth. And it was like we felt like there was something that we needed to create, something that we needed to pick up on, but maybe we didn't quite get the message, or we just couldn't push far enough to actually read things fully and understand things completely. Now's a time where some of that energy, whatever was being brought forth around that time, can come back around, and you can fully understand it. You can fully embrace the vision. You can fully download those impressions. And this is actually a really great time for visualizing whatever it is that you want to create for your plans for the future. It's not always going to be the best time to plan things out and to make concrete plans when you have a Mercury conjunction to Neptune, but this is one of the best energies for visualization. So putting yourself in that space of what you want to create, fantasize, daydream, disconnect yourself from normal reality. That's completely acceptable to do as long as you're not going too far and, escaping into like drugs and alcohol, vices, things that are not necessarily productive. But if you're using this productively, now is a great time for that. Make a vision board, write out what you want to create for yourself, and sort of do a meditation where you're putting yourself in that space and elevating your emotional state. Because not only will you be able to visualize these plans, these idealistic realities that you want to create for yourself so holistically and so completely, but you'll have the opportunity and the energy and the ability to focus your intentions on that and to manifest it and to grow it. So this is something that we can all utilize in our lives. And we have, a lot more downtime, or at least other people do have a lot more downtime right now. And so, for a lot of people, now is a great time to do this, right? What do you want to create? Visualize it, focus on it, draw it in. It might not happen all at once, but for some people it could. With this Pluto conjunction to Jupiter is going to bring huge transformations, and it can feel like everything's happening all at once. If it doesn't come around this first time, we're going to have 2 more passes of that Jupiter conjunction to Pluto. So we might just be getting that first taste, like something is initiated in like this big burst of energy, and it doesn't fully come to pass. It doesn't fully come to fruition right now, but it'll come back around when we have that conjunction again in the summer, and then it'll come back around, and maybe you'll have the full realization of that potential at the end of the year in November or around that time, really October through December, when this energy is going to come to pass for the final time, and that's the resolution point of this transit. And so it's a powerful week. It's kind of a crazy week. I will say that the one thing that's going to be a mitigating influence to that Saturn-Mars conjunction, which that's actually the one that I'm more concerned with than the other conjunctions that are happening. There's more positive potential with Neptune and Mercury, especially because Neptune's in the sign of Pisces, which is the sign of its home. There's much more positive potential with Pluto and Jupiter right now. Even though it's been a difficult transit for a lot of people, it's creating a lot of upheaval globally. That Jupiter energy, Jupiter manifests things that can be very positive in ways that we might not even fully understand right now. That Saturn energy with Mars, though, Saturn is the great malefic. Mars is the lesser malefic. And they're coming into a conjunction, and that's going to be pretty rough on people. However, Venus is actually moving into Gemini this week, and Venus is going to be coming into a trine with that Saturn-Mars conjunction. And so whatever delays we're experiencing, it's going to first off teach us the value of delayed gratification. It's delaying us for a reason. It's delaying us so we can come back into balance, and so we can have a much better plan and a much better platform to build off of moving forward. Saturn doesn't just delay you for no reason. It says no. It says you need to slow down. It says you need to stop, or to review, or to put in some extra effort, so that way you're doing things the right way and not the fast way. That's what Saturn wants. That's what Saturn is really calling on all of us to do right now as a collective, but on an individual level. And Venus will help us to see the value in that. Venus will help us to remain balanced and more at ease, and to see some of these benefits of these delays that we're experiencing right now more so than we normally would. And so I do like that energy as a component of what we're experiencing. I just realized I've had Pisces up this entire time. That was not a Pisces forecast, guys. And I just did all of that, so I'm not going to re-record it. It's just going to say Pisces. Maybe I'll put something else up there when I edit this. I don't know. Anyway, that's funny that happened. But so that is my general overview, my general forecast for the week ahead. And I'm going to get into the forecast for all 12 signs. But before I do, I have a couple of quick announcements. For those of you who haven't already heard, I am starting my pre-order for my summer electional guide, which is a huge, really extensive, really detailed electional astrology guide for the entire summer, June, July, and August, where I'm going into really incredible detail with an at-a-glance electional and lunar calendar that tells you the best and worst days to initiate whatever you want to initiate. Electional astrology can help you to figure out how to utilize the planetary energy in a way that's going to help you to become very successful in whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. And so this guide is going to help you to find the best days. So there's a lunar calendar and an electional calendar. There is a written guide that goes into detail about the best and worst days and even the best times on the best days to manifest things and to initiate things and what these dates are going to be best for. And there are going to be, there's webinars included. So each month has its own webinar where I go into detail about the energy of the entire month. And I go into especially great detail about those best electional astrology days, the times that I've chosen for you, those charts, so you can access that energy and utilize it in the best possible way. So anything that you really want to manifest that you're focusing on right now, you can really push that forward this summer and navigate around a lot of the craziness that's going on, because it is going to be a crazy summer. And so that is available for pre-order down in the description below. I'm already offering a 20% discount if you pre-order before it's released on May 9th. But for this week only, I'm offering an additional $10 off. So that's 40% off, because I want so many of you to be able to benefit from this, because I know a lot of you are going through changes and you're going to be initiating so many new things this summer. And so you'll get a full 40% off using the coupon code down in the description below this week only through midnight on April 4th. The other thing I just want to mention is that my Mastering Jupiter webinar, speaking of Jupiter, is going to be live on April 11th. And so if you are signed up for the Mastering the Outer Planets series, you're already covered. You're a part of that webinar. And so we're going to be going deep into the energy of Jupiter and how to utilize the benefic energy of Jupiter in your chart by transit, looking at Jupiter cycles, all of it. And so the link to sign up for the Mastering the Outer Planets series is down in the description below. And this is a free bonus webinar that I'm giving to you guys as a free gift for those who are already enrolled in the series. And so you can still take advantage of that now. Jupiter is about generosity, so I decided this was going to be my freebie for you guys. All right, and then let's get into the forecast for all 12 signs. And this week, I'm actually going to do something a little bit different. So one of my clients and subscribers mentioned to me that that my Pisces forecasts tend to be a little bit shorter than the rest of my forecasts. I personally don't notice this, and I haven't gone through and looked at and calculated the timestamps and all of that for all of my forecasts, but it's likely to be true. It feels like they're just as long, but at the point that I get to Pisces, I've been speaking for at least 40 minutes, so I think that it's possible. And also Pisces is always going last. So beginning this week, I'm going to start kind of going in a retrograde motion, and starting with Pisces, I'm going to start with a new sign each week. So sorry, Aries, you're not going to be first this week, but luckily there are always timestamps in the description below and or in the comments below. And if there aren't any timestamps yet, I do put up these little symbols up here. Let's move this. There we go. I do put these little symbols up here so you can fast forward to your forecast. And so we're going to start with Pisces this week, and next week we're going to start with Aquarius, and we're going to kind of go in that backwards reverse motion from there and see how that goes. Last time I did something like this, the Aries and the Gemini people got very angry with me in the comments. So I'm going to ease them into not being first. You'll be second and fourth instead of first and third this week, and gradually you'll move down in the zodiac. All right, and so for Pisces and for Pisces rising, this energy with the, okay, so for Pisces and for Pisces rising, This energy that we're starting off the week with is going to be activating Saturn, which is in your 12th house, which is the house of like solitude. It's the house of seclusion. And so I'm sure this is applicable to a lot of people right now, but this is a time where with Saturn transiting the sign of Aquarius, a lot of Pisces people are going to be forced into periods of contemplation, solitude, seclusion. This is a time where you're going through a period of reflection, wrapping things up, piecing things together for the future, because you're preparing for that cosmic reset of Saturn on your ascendant, which I talked about in my forecast for Saturn and Aquarius for all 12 signs. This is a time where you might very quickly be forced to spend time in seclusion, or there might be some sort of pressing issue involving some sort of spiritual practice that you want to get started or that you want to initiate. There might be some sort of pressing issue involving hospitals, involving rehabilitation centers, involving 12th house institutions, including ashrams, including spiritual retreat centers, including really any place like prisons and brothels and places that you go to be hidden away from the world, where it's like you want to get in there, you want to start doing something. It's almost like you want to hurry up and decompress and relax and break away from the day-to-day reality. And there's something that's preventing you from doing that. Maybe it's your own sense of responsibility. Maybe it's your own hesitation or resistance to this time that you need to spend really working through your past issues, letting go. This time of introspection that you're going to be really experiencing over the next 2.5 years. This could also just be that you're being forced into it very quickly, very rapidly. And I think that that could be true for a lot of Pisces rising people, where it feels uncomfortable and it feels really frustrating and it feels like you want to rebel against your current circumstances because you feel isolated, because you feel like you don't have that support system that you're used to having, or because you want to get out there, you want to get busy again. And so this is going to cause you to have to kind of slow down. You're going to come up against roadblocks and barriers, and you're going to have to wait. This is also a time where you might have some really intense messages coming through dreams, through visions, through impressions, through meditations. This would also be a really great time for you to like initiate some sort of really intensive spiritual discipline, and that spiritual discipline will help to carry you through the next 2.5-year transit, actually 3-year transit total of Saturn through Aquarius. And so it could feel like you want to just jump in and go all in all at once, but it's just not quite practical, or you're not able to really get yourself into it in that way. And so the best way to do this is to take small measured steps every single day to reach those long-term goals and plans. And so maybe you want to have this really deep, intensive meditation practice. Start very small. Start with like 5 minutes a day, even if that's, what you can do, if that's what your mind can handle. Or if that's what your routine can handle, maybe you're locked at home with your kids now and you have craziness everywhere. And so you wanted that time in solitude and reflection, and you're just not quite there yet. Taking just 5 minutes a day, taking 5 minutes a day to research and study, take 5 minutes a day to do some sort of physical activity, especially something that has some sort of spiritual or energetic purpose like yoga or Tai Chi. All of these little tiny efforts that you're making every single day can help you to reach your long-term goals and plans in that area. And so, this is just going to be a time where I think for a lot of people, there's going to be a frustration, but there's also going to be an understanding that this is for a reason, and that you're kind of being slowed down, or you're being sort of put in this position where you're isolated for a reason. And this is also a really great time this week for you to get back in touch with your family, right? This is a really great time for you to spend time with that Venus in trine with Saturn, Venus in your 4th house of the home, family, and property. It's a really great time for you to get back in touch with your roots, to re-solidify your relationships with your family members, with the people that you care about most. And so now's a time where you can work on slowly rebuilding and repairing relationships with family, because that might be a part of this transit as well. For Pisces, you're also going to have Mercury and Neptune in your sign in the 1st house, which is the house of self. And so this is going to be impacting you very personally. For, Neptune being in Pisces, that's not necessarily the worst thing for Pisces people. This has been going on for quite some time, and this is just an extra Piscean energy. And so for Pisces, sun, moon, or rising people with their sun, moon, or rising near that 19th degree in the sign of Pisces, so really anywhere from, let's say, 13 or 14 to, what would that be? 14 to 24? Yeah, 14 to 24 degrees in the sign of Pisces, you're going to be feeling this the most. And so this could be a time where there's a lot of confusion, where there's a lot that's up in the air for you. This would be a time where you're having incredible psychic energy that really becomes very apparent, where your intuition becomes heightened, where you experience these visions, downloads, impressions, these flashes of insight that come to you fully formed in a way that's very hard to express outwardly and convey to other people. This is also a time where you're going to be wearing your rose-colored glasses. You're going to be seeing what you want to see in people. And that could be on the other end of the spectrum too. You're going to be more prone to projecting your ideas, your thoughts, your energies, your intentions onto other people, and that could be good or bad. So you might be projecting positive energy onto people that don't deserve it, and so you might miss people's flaws, you might miss where people are misleading you, or you might be scapegoating other people or blaming them or playing the victim. And projecting that type of energy on other people, like they're out to get you when maybe they're not. And so this is going to be a time where it's going to be very hard for you to understand things clearly, to see people clearly, and to communicate your ideas effectively and clearly. This is the biggest thing. You might unintentionally mislead people or unintentionally lie to people, or you might be accused of lying or misleading to people or misleading people, even though that's not necessarily what you did or what you intended to do. And that could be coming up right now. So be very careful with your words and pay close attention to the way that you say things and the way that it's being taken by other people, because that's going to be a big theme right now. And this could bring up a lot of confusion around your path or your direction in life, and an awareness around the fact that you feel directionless. You feel like you don't know where you're going right now. This is a really great time to sit in meditation, use that 12th house energy as well, sit in reflection and in contemplation, and sort of allow the direction that you need to move into to come to you fully formed. Allow that guidance to just come to you as a vision. Don't try to force anything, just allow it to be, and you might get some really incredible insights this week. The other thing that's happening is that Pluto-Jupiter conjunction, which is happening in the sign of Capricorn, which is actually quite nice for Pisces people. Especially if you are a Pisces sun, moon, rising, anywhere from 20 to 30 degrees, really, you're going to be feeling this quite intensely, but especially near that 24th degree. This is an energy where you can have major changes and transformations in your social orientation, in your social circle, in your friendships, and in your close personal relationships. Really incredible relationships, powerful new relationships can be drawn into you right now. And so if you've been wanting to have really deep, intimate connections with people, if you've been wanting a romantic partnership, if you've been wanting close connections and friendship, now's a time where you can really manifest that and draw that in. Even though for a lot of you, you're not going to be able to connect in real life, there's going to be a connection there. You're going to be able to form those deep, intimate bonds. And a lot of really incredible leaps and bounds can be made, especially this weekend, by connecting with your social circle, by connecting with other people, even if that's at a distance. That social connection is so important because it can really help to transform your life and transform your experience. It can help you to see things from a different perspective, get to the bottom of things, and to understand what you're truly and deeply passionate about and who's on your side, so you can manifest your dreams, so you can create the reality that you want to create moving forward. All right, and then for Aries and for Aries rising. So for you guys, the Saturn conjunction to Mars, I mean, surprise, surprise, it's putting a little damper on your social life because you have Saturn moving into the sign of Aquarius. And so this can place limitations and restrictions on social groups and networks and your ability to connect with people in those group situations and your ability to connect with your friends. This is a time, especially at the start of this week and really last week and into next week too, where you might find that friendships are ending rather abruptly, or you might be coming into arguments or disputes with your social circle and within your social networks, and this can cause a lot of frustration. It could simply be that the social isolation is a source of really intense frustration, and you want to do something to rebel against it. You want to initiate something that's going to help you to connect to groups of people, that's going to help you to connect with your friends, maybe in a safe way, or in a way that is allowed right now, or maybe in a way that's not allowed right now for some of you. So this is going to cause this energy of really wanting to rebel against your current circumstances with your social situation, but coming up against road blockages and not being able to to really push through with the intentions that you have. This would be a really great time though for you to very gradually build a new social network or a new way of networking and connecting and communicating with your community and with your friends in your social circle, with this energy of Venus in trine with all of this energy with Saturn and Mars in your 11th house, because Venus is going to be in your 3rd house of communication and community. And so this could be a time where you can, create a different resource for people to connect or start working on that initiation. It's not going to happen all at once. It could be like a new social network or a new group that you want to create online, and it could very slowly grow and build and manifest over time. This is also going to be a time where you're going to have that Mercury conjunction and Neptune in your 12th house, which is the house of dreams, visions, impressions. It's the house of your subjective sense of reality. This could bring really incredible messages through dreams, right? And this is one of those things that tends to happen when you have Mercury energy in your 12th house in general, but especially when it's in a conjunction with Neptune. If not in your dreams, you could just get these really powerful images and visualizations that cause your current reality to feel unreal in some way. There could be, visions of the future that come to you fully formed, and you have to figure out and piece together where that's coming from and how to manifest it. This could also be an important message that comes to you through 12th house institutions, which include things like hospitals, prisons, rehabilitation centers, any sort of asylum, temples, monasteries, spiritual retreat centers, those types of things. And so pay attention to that if that comes to you as well. This is a great time to get really important insight and messages through meditation or spiritual practices of all kinds, and to communicate with others in a way that's very creative. If you're somebody who writes or journals, this is one of the best times for creative writing or for journaling or getting these creative ideas out, especially if you're spending some downtime in solitude and seclusion, whether or not that's forced. And so that could be something that could be a really great way to utilize this energy as well. And then later this week, and I mean, this is an energy that's been going on for a couple of weeks now, but it's most powerful this week. Jupiter and Pluto are coming into an exact conjunction in the sign of Capricorn in your 10th house. The 10th house is the house of career and public reputation. There can be huge transformations going on in the area of career for you right now, where you can have really incredible new beginnings that start seemingly out of nowhere or all at once, or you can have these very powerful insights and inspirations that propel you forward in a brand new path when it comes to your career. This could be a really intense drive to figure out what you're deeply and truly passionate about and to follow that thread and to incorporate that into your career. There could be really crazy power struggles or challenges that come up that can feel psychologically very intense when it comes to your career, but that can ultimately transform your career path for the better, so you're in alignment with what you truly need, want, and desire moving forward. This will be especially challenging for Aries rising signs. If you have your rising sign or your sun or your moon near that 24th degree in the sign of Aries. So really anywhere from from 20 to 30 degrees, but especially near that 24th degree, you're going to be feeling this really intensely. And this is going to pose challenges to you on a very personal level. You're going to feel personally very fired up, very passionate, very intense, almost obsessive over whatever it is that you're trying to create in your life. And this could also cause a lot of really incredible power struggles and intense energies around relationships in particular. And so this could be a little bit of a struggle there, especially work-related relationships. However, the ultimate goal is to utilize this energy to figure out what you truly desire and to start working toward manifesting that into your life moving forward. All right. And then for Taurus and for Taurus rising. So for you guys, this energy here with Saturn and Mars is happening in your 10th house, which is the house of career and public reputation. And so this is giving you a very intense look at the energy that's going to be coming forward over the next 2.5 to 3 years with Saturn transiting the sign of Aquarius in your 10th house of career. This is a time where you could have some sort of limitation or restriction imposed on your career. Maybe your hours are cut, or maybe you're working less, or you're working on working less, or working on retiring or winding things down. Maybe this is where you get a message where all of a sudden you thought you were moving in a certain direction in your career, and you've been stifled, you've been stopped, you've been delayed delayed in some way, and that can be hugely frustrating. You can come into opposition from people in positions of power and authority when it comes to projects and goals and plans that you really want to push forward with this week, but you're not going to be able to push forward with them as quickly as you want to. And that could be a source of frustration where you want to rebel against whoever's stopping you. But you realize, especially because of this energy with Venus in the second house and Gemini trining all of this, that this is happening for a reason. You're not in it for this like short-term gain right now. This is a lesson in delayed gratification. This is a lesson in figuring out how to create a solid foundation for what you want for your future moving forward, so you can have a better career outlook, but especially a better financial outlook tied to your career. And so if you have to take a little bit of a hit now, that's going to be for the best in the long term. The other thing that's going on here is that Jupiter and Pluto are coming into a conjunction in your ninth house. The ninth house is the house of adventures. It's the house of perspective. It's the house of your moral and ethical value systems that frame your reality. Especially if you're a Taurus rising around that 24th degree in the sign of Taurus, you're going to be feeling this really intensely in a positive way, where all of a sudden you're going to have this huge burst of energy. You're going to have a newfound perspective on life. Your perspective on this reality and your mindset and belief systems about this reality are transforming in a huge way, and you're incorporating these new belief systems. You're incorporating who you truly are and your integrity into the way that you navigate this reality, into the way that you show up in the world fully and completely. And so this is going to be a really powerful time for that. There can be some really incredible shifts that can come, or really incredible progress that can be made in the way of educational pursuits. Or if you're a teacher, maybe you'll have a really incredible insight or inspiration or idea related to a new course that you could teach, or a new way that you could go about structuring your courses so they're transformed, so that way they have a deeper meaning, so that way you're passionate about what you're talking about, so that way you're conveying something with a higher sense of purpose. And that could be really incredible as well. This could be a really great time for you to feel motivated to write or publish some sort of book or manuscript of some kind. And this is if you are somebody who wants to go back to school, this could be the push. This is like, okay, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to go all in right now, all at once. And this could actually be very fruitful for you in a lot of ways. This could also be really intense energy coming in around foreign travel, or people who are in foreign countries. And so this could be, maybe around the travel restrictions or something like that. But this could also be, really incredible opportunities that come to you very out of the blue, or in ways that are very intense and hard to ignore, that are related to people in foreign cultures, or connecting with people in foreign cultures. All right. And then for Gemini and for Gemini rising, this Saturn-Mars conjunction is happening in your ninth house, which is the house of higher education. It's the house of your beliefs about God, the universe, the world around you. And this is a time with Saturn transiting Aquarius where you might be feeling stifled in your ability to connect with God, to connect with a higher sense of meaning. Or you might be going through a period of losing your old belief systems and having to restructure and rebuild what you believe about this reality as a whole moving forward. And that could hit you sort of like a ton of bricks this week, where all of a sudden you realize what you thought was true is not true anymore. And you can feel very frustrated with this lack of connection to a deeper sense of meaning, or a broader sense of meaning. This could also be delays that come up for you involving your education, specifically higher education. So if you're somebody who's enrolled in college or in a college course, or you're supposed to be starting a college course coming up soon, this could bring delays to that, or maybe delays to your graduation, or the need to take a step back and take your studies a little bit more slowly moving forward. This could also be the need to go back and get additional education later on in life. And so if you're a little bit older and you've already been there, done that, this could provide this really intense need to just jump right in and go back to school, but there might be some sort of delays or some sort of issues or blockages that you might have to overcome first, and that could be quite frustrating for you. But the end result is going to be that you're going to benefit from that financially. You're going to benefit from it in terms of becoming a more balanced person, and And I think that that's actually going to be a really positive thing for you if that's something that you're working on doing. This could also be delays or restrictions to travel or connections with people in foreign countries. I think that's kind of obvious how that could play out for a lot of people. But you're going to see the benefit in this. It's like, okay, I was going. I was traveling here and there. I was going to do this, that, and the other thing. And now I have to take a step back and slow down. But I realized that I didn't have a solid foundation for all of this. I needed to kind of take a step back and slow it down to create something better moving forward. The other thing that's going on is the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction in your 8th house, which is the house of debt, joint finances, and other people's money. This could be a couple of different things. This could be money coming in very suddenly from an outside source, huge financial windfalls, reversals of fortune involving investments, inheritance, other people's money. This could be a partner who all of a sudden comes into a bunch of money and you get to benefit from those resources that are coming in. This could be some sort of opportunity coming in for you to pay off or get relieved of some sort of debt or some sort of tax burden, or you could have money coming in through taxes or a tax refund or something like that, where it's a huge sum of money all at once and it changes things for you. This could be you realizing that you need to become more financially independent and independent from the system moving forward, so that way you are more empowered and you don't have people holding money over your head like banks and other people that you know. This could be an investment opportunity that comes about and you feel really passionate and really excited about it and you decide that you want to jump all in. This could also be you facing your fears. Like, this could be your biggest fears coming up to the surface in a huge way, and these are things that you've been afraid to look at for quite some time, and all of a sudden they're here and you realize that they're not that scary. And so this helps you to resolve those issues, to release those fears, and to move forward feeling much more empowered. It's kind of like when you're afraid of heights and you go and you go rock climbing or you go skydiving, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my goodness, this is so exhilarating. I feel so empowered. I did something I thought was impossible for me to do. That's the type of energy that you're going to be experiencing this week. So it's a really great week. The energy of the Mercury-Neptune conjunction is happening in your 10th house, which is the house of career and public reputation. And so there could be some confusing messages or mixed messages coming in around your career. There could be confusion around which path you want to take or what message you want to deliver through your career or through your platform. If you're somebody who's a public figure or who has your own business, it's kind of like, okay, everything's all crazy. What do I do now? What message do I want to deliver? What am I going to say to my employees? What am I going to say to my boss? What am I going to say to my clients or to my customers? How am I going to address this? And there's a lack of understanding or a lack of clarity around that. If that's the case, that's okay. Now's the time for you to kind of just sit with that and to visualize and allow the answers to come to you intuitively. It doesn't mean that you have to make moves right now, but the answers will come. And if you visualize the outcome that you desire right now when it comes to your career, this could be a time where you can create that outcome in the future. You're probably not going to know exactly what steps to take to get there just yet. All right, and then for Cancer and for Cancer rising. For Cancer and for Cancer rising, so this energy here with the Saturn-Mars conjunction is happening in your 8th house, which is the house of debt, joint finances, and other people's money. This could be where a source of income is cut off from you very abruptly, especially an outside source of income. So something like, some sort of welfare payment or money coming through child support or coming in through an outside source through marriage or an investment that maybe isn't going to be able to provide for you in the way that you wish that it would. And so that could be a source of really incredible frustration that could delay your financial plans moving forward. However, this is going to cause you to restructure your finances, especially when it comes to joint finances. So if you have any debts or if you have any ties to income that comes from an outside sources, it's going to show you that you need to become more self-sufficient and more independent moving forward so you can avoid these pitfalls or these issues that could potentially arise. This could be you having to restructure your portfolio or restructure your investments in some way. This could be you realizing that you really need to get out of debt, and so you decide that you're going to make a plan, buckle down, and take small measured efforts every single day to reach your long-term goals of getting out of debt. And so that could look like something as small as just putting $5 a week towards some sort of bill or some sort of payment at first, but you can allow that to grow and to expand and to snowball as you find new and creative ways to work with this energy moving forward and to restructure your finances moving forward. This is something where this is also a really great time for you to sort of face your fears. You might have a lot of fears coming in right now all at once, and it can feel like a lot to handle. But if you take it in small batches, if you make those small efforts every single day to restructure your mindset, to reprogram your brain around these fears, to take small efforts to gradually expose yourself to the things that you are afraid to look at. And those could be financial, but those could also be past fears, traumas, anxieties, past abuse, things like that. You can achieve your goals. It's just not going to happen all at once. This would be a great time to engage in some sort of talk therapy or something long-term that can help you to face your fears and to overcome these obstacles in the future. And then this energy with Jupiter and Pluto is actually happening in your 7th house, which is the house it's the house of partnership in marriage, especially, but really all types of partnership. It's the house of close personal relationships. This is a time where your relationship with your significant other, if you are in a relationship, can be deeply transformed in a very positive way, where you can make incredible progress in healing your relationship, in creating deeper intimacy and deeper understanding of one another moving forward. This is where you figure out what you truly value and you really come to terms with what really matters to you in your partnership. And so this is a really incredible time where you can make huge transformations and huge progress in relationship. On the other end, this is a time where you can take things too far and obsess over relationships and let your fears get the better of you. You can try to control your partner way too much, and that can ultimately cause issues or ruin things. And so you want to make sure that that's not the end of the spectrum you're falling on. If you're not in partnership, this is a time where you can transform that. You can focus on what you truly and deeply need, want, and desire in partnership and really expand on that moving forward. And so this is an incredible time of making progress in relationships. And this could be a time where a really important new partnership just comes in on its own. That doesn't have to be romantic. It could be a new friendship or a new business partnership or a new contractual type of agreement that just feels really important and that changes your life or changes the direction of your life moving forward. All right, and for Leo rising, this energy is happening in your, with the Mars-Saturn conjunction, is happening in your 7th house. So this is going to give you the first sort of major glance or the major sort of taste of the energy that's going to be coming up for you for the next 3 years with Saturn and Aquarius transiting your 7th house. This is a time where you can have arguments, disputes, frustrations involving relationships, contracts, agreements, negotiations. This could be where you want to move forward with a relationship or some sort of aspect of a relationship, but you feel stifled. This could also bring up, if you are feeling really restricted or burdened by your relationships, that's going to come up for you really intensely this week, and that's going to be a huge source of frustration. Actually, sort of venting or relying on your friends or your social circle to help get you through is going to be a really great way to mitigate this energy with Venus and Gemini in your 11th house of friendship. And so and this could be like literally just a close friend that all of a sudden you feel the weight of this relationship, you feel the weight of this friendship, and it feels heavier than what you wanted to carry. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be a marriage partnership, but this could also be where there's a restriction to your connection with your marriage partner this week, or there's some sort of arguments or frustrations or disputes, or this could be where you feel burdened by the relationship in some way. You feel like you have to carry this weight. Maybe that person is very stressed out and you're the one who's stepping it up and taking the responsibility and helping them through it, and it just feels like it's a lot right now. The other thing that's going on is this Mercury conjunction to Neptune in your 8th house, which is the house of joint finances, debt, taxes, inheritance, other people's money. There could be a lot of confusion around a partner's paycheck or resources around some sort of bill or how you're going to pay your bills or some sort of debt that comes up for you this week. There could be confusion around taxes or tax refunds or inheritance or insurance payouts that comes up for you this week. If you're somebody who's trying to collect like unemployment or some sort of, welfare or something like that, there could be confusions with your check or with your payout or miscommunications that come up for you. But at the same time, this is a really great time for you to focus your energy and your intentions on visualizing what you want for yourself when it comes to your finances, especially when it comes to joint finances like debt or a partner's resources or money that comes through investments or inheritance or something along those lines. And so if you're somebody who's in debt, visualize yourself being free from that. If you're somebody who is having issues around resources in general, visualize what you want for your future. You don't have to have the details right now because you probably won't when it comes to your plans to get there, but visualize the outcome that you want, because this is a really incredible time for you to sort of fantasize about the future, and the details will start to fill themselves in moving forward. This could bring some sort of vague anxiety or like vague fears that come up that you don't really know where they're coming from. It's sort of this free-floating sense of anxiety. It actually is coming from a space where it's connected to your past trauma, your past fears, things that have come up in your life that have been really complicated or difficult for you in the past, but you might not be able to place it. And so there could be something going on in your environment right now that's triggering past trauma or past experiences, and that's causing that fear. So now's a good time where you can kind of sit with that, reflect on it, work through it more intuitively. Don't try to like figure it out or piece it all together, but you can have an understanding that comes to you more intuitively. If you're somebody who has health issues, you've been really focusing on getting it together, as a lot of people have, which I think is actually a good thing when it comes to what's been going on a global scale. People are finally focusing on their health, which is something that we should be doing all the time. But for you, Leo, if you want physical health, you're going to have to really address the psychological and emotional factors that contribute to your physical health issues. That's going to be a big thing for you right now. This is a hugely transformative time where it's a deeply regenerative, deeply restorative time where you can make huge leaps and bounds in your healing process. But the psychological work has to come first, the reprogramming of your mind in order to facilitate healing. Your mind and your body are connected. Your mind controls your body. Your mind controls very literally your immune system, your endocrine system, your heart rate, your blood pressure, your respiration rate. And so if your brain is not functioning well, if your mind is not healthy, if your psychology is not healthy, then your body's not going to reflect that good health either. So this is a time to work in that mental space to facilitate that psychological healing or that physiological healing. And this is a time where you actually can make huge leaps and bounds when it comes to getting to the core issue and getting to the bottom of any health issues that have been plaguing you. This is also a time where you can make huge progress when it comes to developments related to your work, especially your daily work, your daily habits, your daily routines, and the way that makes up the bigger picture of your career. You can feel really inspired to pursue a new career path and to jump right in and to start incorporating that into your daily life right here and right now. And you can make a lot of progress, especially if you're deeply and truly passionate about it. This can transform your career completely moving forward. And so that's a big part of this energy as well. All right, and for Virgo rising, this Mars conjunction to Saturn is happening in your 6th house of health and daily routines. This could bring some sort of frustration or stall in progress when it comes to creating better health for yourself, or this could sort of knock you down, knock down your immune system a little bit, or cause you to have to reevaluate your health, your daily nutrition, your daily habits and routines around exercise and what you put in your body and the way that you treat yourself. If you've been overdoing it and working way too hard, now is a time where you're going to be kind of at a standstill, where things are going to come to a halt, and that can feel really frustrating, but you might see that this is going to help you to come back into better balance, to have better ideas when it comes to your career path and the projects that you're moving forward with. And so these delays are going to help you in the long term to have better balance and have a better foundation for whatever it is that you want to create with your career moving forward. And the same thing with your health. If you're stalling out with health goals, or if you're wanting to jump into some sort of new nutritional regimen or some new health routines and it's not happening, it's not working for you, it's because you're jumping in too hard, too fast. You need to incorporate these things slowly and create a foundation for good health, building from the ground up, because good health doesn't come overnight. If you've been treating your body poorly, if you've been more likely for a Virgo or a Virgo rising, if you've been just grinding away and working really hard and helping everyone and everything, and not taking time for yourself to relax and rest, which is a big part of good health, then this is a time where that's going to come up for you. For that Pluto-Jupiter conjunction, this is where you're really deeply getting into alignment with your truest passions in life. This is you making huge leaps and bounds when you focus on the things that bring you joy, that bring you that deep internal satisfaction. This is going to be a huge time for any form of creativity for you. You're going to be creating a lot. This is where you're going to be feeling so empowered and so elevated and so energized, and you're going to want to lead and help others to do the same. This is a time where you can have really incredible transformations and progress when it comes to your relationship with your children and the way that you go about raising your children. Maybe your children are at home and all of a sudden you realize that you are inspired to start doing homeschooling, not just now, but into the future, right? That could be a really great energy. You want to have a deeper connection, more intimacy, and a deeper understanding of your children. That's something that you can really move into during this time. This is also a time where you can deepen your intimacy in partnership and in romance. So if you are in partnership with somebody, this is a time where you can get to know them on that deeper level much more easily, and you can obtain that psychological and emotional intimacy that you've been craving in that relationship. And it can happen very powerfully almost all at once, and things can completely shift and change in those partnerships. For Libra and for Libra rising, this Mars conjunction to Saturn in the 5th house can help you feel, or can cause you to feel, the burden of limitation and restriction when it comes to your playtime, your ability to have fun, your ability to experience joy, your ability to engage in your hobbies, the interests, the things that you love to do because you love to do them. And so all of a sudden it's like things have come to a grinding halt, and maybe there are a lot of things that you like to do on sort of in a spontaneous way with that Aquarius energy in the 5th house, and you don't have the freedom to do it right now, and that could feel hugely frustrating. This is also a time, though, where maybe those delays in your playtime, those delays in your fun can serve to cause you to realize that you want to take some of these passions of yours and use them in a more practical way. And this would be a really great time to think about maybe going back to school or getting some additional education with this trine from Venus in your 9th house, in order to facilitate the ability to turn your passions into something that is, is more workable or more practical, or that you can do full time or as a business or something along those lines. This is a time where romance can feel like a lot of work, and so you might have arguments, frustrations, delays, disputes in romance, or you could feel the burden of your romantic partnerships a lot more, or you could feel the burden of restriction if you're not in a romantic partnership where you're craving it, and maybe it's just not there. If that's the case, that's okay. This is helping you to build yourself first and to build up yourself first and to focus on your goals, your direction in life, and facilitating a good foundation for that before you move into relationship, which is still a potential right now. It just feels a little harder. The other thing that's going on is that Mercury and Neptune are in your 6th house coming into a conjunction. This can indicate some confusing or mixed messages around your health or around healthcare issues in general. There could be confusing or mixed messages or even deception that is going on in your workplace or in work-related communications or amongst your coworkers. And so now is not necessarily the time to resolve it. If you have to resolve it right now, try to figure it out more intuitively and from a subjective standpoint, as opposed to trying to rationalize and piece together what's going on that more objective level, because that's not going to work right now. And also just make sure that you're not the one being misleading or confusing to other people, because that could be part of this issue too. You might feel like you're saying things or doing things in one way and people are taking it a completely different way, and that can pose issues in the workplace as well. With this energy of Pluto and Jupiter in a conjunction in your 4th house, this is a deep need to transform your home, your family, your property, your roots. This is where you can really invest your time and energy on a huge renovation project to transform your home very literally and very physically, so that way it suits you better and it's more in alignment with what you need, want, and desire. This could be you transforming and deepening your intimacy in your relationship with your family members, getting to know them better. If you're stuck at home with your family, now's a time where you can really deepen those bonds and strengthen those bonds in a very positive way. If you have difficulty with family relationships, that can be transformed and transmuted, and you can release those old traumas, those old wounds, those old arguments with people, and you can move on to something better. This is also where you can transform through any sort of ancestral karma or ancestral baggage that you're holding on to. And this is a time where if you have past trauma from your childhood, this is a time where that can come up in a very big way, but it can come up in a way where it's very easy for you to work through it and heal through it moving forward. All right, and then for Scorpio and for Scorpio rising. So this energy with Saturn and Mars in a conjunction in Aquarius is actually happening in your 4th house of the home, family, and property. It can feel like home-related projects have stalled out, or there can be some sort of roadblock. It's like you want to really quickly push forward with something involving your home or property, and it's just not happening as quickly as you want it to. You have to sort of take your time and wait. It's like hurry up and wait. It's like, okay, I just did all these things, I pushed it forward, and now I'm coming into these blockages, or I'm having to slow down and I'm not able to make the progress that I want to make in my home renovation, or with like refinancing a home could be part of this as well. And it could actually work out really well for you, but this isn't a short-term gain that you're looking for. You're looking for long-term benefits with anything involving financing of a property, which could be something that's coming up for you right now, or debt related to property, or joint finances related to family members. That could be something coming up for you right now, where you want to push forward with something, and those family relationships are inhibiting you from being able to do that all at once, or from being able to move forward altogether. In the long term, that's actually going to be good for you, because it's going to help you to have better balance when it comes to your debt, or when it comes to your joint finances, or when it comes to finances tied in with family members. Now's a time where there could be more arguments or disputes or frustrations amongst your family. Maybe you're stuck inside with your family and you're getting on each other's nerves and you're arguing more. And so you realize that you maybe need to take some time apart or something along those lines. But again, the benefits of this are going to be like a better foundation and a better structure for your family dynamic moving forward. So maybe you realize that, hey, maybe I need to, renovate this space in my home so I have my own space. And that's a project that you get started with very slowly, with this transit. The other thing that's going on is that Mercury is coming into a conjunction with Neptune in your 5th house, which is the house of play, fun. It's the house of imagination. It's the house of where you go to experience joy, and that could be a huge thing for you right now. This is a great time to dive into creative, intuitive, or spiritual pursuits, or creative writing or journaling, and that could be really fun for you, or creative or imaginative forms of play or storytelling with your children if you have any, and maybe you're at home with your children right now and you get to engage in that, and that's actually going to feel really fun and really awesome for you. This is a time for all Scorpios where your intuition will be heightened, and you'll very easily be able to visualize how you can create a reality where your passions are more in alignment with your goals and your direction and the way that you show up in the world, and you can incorporate that more fully. For that Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, you're going to be having huge ideas, huge insights, really powerful messages that come through very literally from other people. That can transform your reality in a big way. Now's a time where you can make incredible transformations related to your communication, your relationship with your community, your relationship with siblings, extended family members. This could be a time where your communication and helps you to deepen your intimacy in close partnerships with other people. And those partnerships are transformed in a big, powerful way. Or new partnerships, new collaborations, new connections come in. And that transforms your reality in a big way, or your mindset about your reality in a big way. Your mindset is being transformed hugely right now. That's a big part of this. There's a lot of psychological work going on where the way that you think about your reality on a day-to-day basis is shifting and transforming almost all at once. And that's going to be a powerful energy. This could be where you could have some sort of really powerful transformation tied to educational pursuits, either your own education or education in terms of like your teaching, right? So maybe you have this really great idea for a course you want to create and you want to just put it out there and it just grows and it expands and it's like this huge transformative experience for you and for your career or for what your path that you're on right now. Maybe you decide you want to go back to school or you want to take some sort of educational course or webinar while you're stuck at home, and that course or that webinar changes your life fully and completely for the better. And it happens almost all at once. It's like, oh my God, I didn't realize that I needed this information so badly. And now that I have it, how did I not know this? How did I not have this? And that could be a powerful experience as well. All right. And then for Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. So for Sagittarius, this energy with the Saturn-Mars conjunction is actually happening in your third house, which is the house of your daily commute. And so there could be some sort of limitation or restriction placed on your commute or your daily routines. It's kind of like you want to push forward with something potentially related to your community or community-related projects or some sort of educational pursuit. And there's frustration because you're not getting the feedback or the results that you want as quickly as you want them. Or there are some hurdles or obstacles that you have to overcome to get there that are unexpected. But reaching out to other people for guidance, for insight, to bounce things off of can really help you to maintain a sense of equilibrium and to figure out how to create a good foundation for this educational pursuit that you're wanting to get into, if that's the case for you. Or maybe you're creating some sort of educational program and you want to just jump in and launch it, and it's like it's not ready and it's not working, and so you have to take some time, maybe bounce that idea off of like a partner or a friend and refine it a little bit more before you move forward with your plans. In either case, it does seem like there's something that you'll be moving forward with. It's just that there could be frustrations around that. There could also be frustrations around vehicles. And so it could be that your travel is restricted, or it could just be that your car breaks down, or you have issues with your engine or something that you have to kind of deal with that delays your plans and causes a little bit of a setback. But again, creating a better foundation by fixing those problems now is going to help you to not have as many headaches in the future when it comes to those vehicles, if that is the case. This Mercury-Neptune conjunction is happening in your fourth house of the home, family, and property. And so there can be a lot of confusion about what direction to take in terms of home renovation projects or projects in your home in general. There can be a lot of confusion or miscommunication involving family members or roommates. And so just make sure that you're very clear on what you're saying and how you're saying it. And that you're not misleading anybody in your family unintentionally, or that you're not misleading your landlords or your mortgage broker or whoever it is that is tied in with your property with the words or the numbers that you're giving them. Make sure that you're very clear in your communication when it comes to anything related to your home, your property, or your communication with your family. And also when it comes to your family, make sure that you're not scapegoating and blaming other people for your problems, because that could be an issue, or that you're not just kind of like wearing those rose-colored glasses and like allowing people to walk all over you, or ignoring their flaws or ignoring the things that they're doing because you want to see the best in them, because that could be part of this too. This would be a great week for you to visualize what you want when it comes to your reality at home. So what do you want your home life to look like? What do you want your family connections to look and feel like? Put that in your head, visualize it, imagine it, and then you don't have to figure out how it's going to happen. Just allow that to sit with you right now, because these things are very likely to manifest in ways that you wouldn't expect. The other thing that's going on is a Jupiter-Pluto conjunction in your second house of finance. This could bring powerful energy to your resources. You've had so many delays and restrictions and hardships and setbacks when it comes to your financial situation, your career path, so much oppressive, burdensome energy where you've been working really hard on restructuring your career so you can have more independence, so you can have a better foundation for the future. And now is a time where you can reap some financial rewards, where you can have huge financial windfalls, huge transformations in your financial situation that can occur almost overnight in these really powerful ways where it's almost like you don't have a choice. Whatever you want to manifest when it comes to your finances, now is a time where you can really draw it in. So don't manifest your fears. Focus on opportunities. Focus on what you want for your resources, because you're going to be able to create that this year. And now is that starting point. For Capricorn and for Capricorn rising, this Saturn-Mars energy is happening in your second house, which is the house of finances. You might be experiencing the first taste of that intense energy where you're going to have to face some of your fears around your finances potentially, where you're going to have to face where you've been maybe not so responsible when it comes to your resources, and you're going to have to clean up some messes. This could be a very intense, very abrupt restriction or delay involving your finances, or maybe a paycheck or money that you expected to come in that's not coming in as great, or as in a way that's as grand as you expected, or as quick as you expected, or maybe it's just not coming in at all. If that's the case, take a step back and reevaluate your plans, and take small measures every single day to build yourself up, to build a solid platform, to build a solid foundation for you to achieve financial stability, to achieve financial success moving forward. Maybe there's a major purchase that you really want to make, but what's going on with the economy and what's going on in your personal life with your finances has halted those plans, and it's really, really frustrating, and you really want to move forward with it, but you just can't. If that's the case, you can actually rework, especially later this week, you can rework your day-to-day routines and habits, maybe even pick up a side hustle or talk to your boss and pick up some extra projects or jobs or something like that. And that can gradually add support to whatever your financial goals and plans are for the future. And that's something that you can consider doing. The other thing that's happening is that you have Mercury and Neptune in a conjunction in the sign of Pisces. And this is happening in your third house of communication. This is actually not terrible. This is a really great time for creative, fun, fantastical communications, especially in relationship and in partnership with other people. And so that can actually be really nice. If you're somebody who writes, this is an incredible time to write, especially creative writing. This is an incredible time for journaling, for storytelling, for any sort of creative types of communication. And so this could be a great time for that. And this is a time where you're going to be thinking really creatively. This is a really great time to visualize what you want for your future and to create that reality moving forward. It doesn't mean you're going to know every single thing that is going to happen or how you're going to make it happen. It just means that, this is a good time to sort of envision things and to allow things to unfold as they will. Your intuition will be heightened and you'll be getting really incredible intuitive messages right now. And this could also be some sort of confusion or miscommunication that could cause issues for you where you're being lied to or being deceived, or maybe you're not being clear in your communication. So you want to just make sure that you're speaking appropriately, you're saying what you mean, and people are understanding you in the way that you intend them to. So, maybe having one of the things that I a lot of times recommend, and I forgot to talk about at the beginning of this video, with these conjunctions between Mercury and Neptune, is asking the person to repeat back to you what you said, not in a condescending way, but in a way that just allows them to reflect back to you what they heard and the way that they heard it, because what they're hearing might not be what you're saying, and vice versa. And so clarifying in that way and just having them repeat back to you is a really good way to avoid any of those mishaps and miscommunications. There could also be confusion around travel plans, around issues involving vehicles, around educational pursuits. But for the most part, I think that this is going to be a more positive energy for Capricorn. The Jupiter-Pluto conjunction is happening in your first house, and this is a house where it involves you. So this could be a time where you make incredible leaps and bounds, incredible progress, where your entire direction and path in life is changed or reversed or transformed in some way. This is a time where you might feel hugely energized, hugely passionate, hugely empowered to pursue the things that you truly need, want, and desire in your life. This is a time where you're taking a good hard look at what do you desire and how are you going to manifest that? What do you really want for your reality moving forward? Who do you want to be? Who do you want to surround yourself with? What choices do you need to make right now? What do you need to cut out of your life in order to hyper focus on the life that you desire to create on all levels in all areas of life right now? This is a time where you can have a lot of really incredible success that sort of comes to you all at once. But if you're trying to control every little thing that's happening, it's going to make things a little bit challenging for you. So just kind of be aware of that. But you've been struggling or having a lot of hardship or having a lot of responsibility or weight on your shoulders. And now's a time where you can see the results of all of the work that you've been putting in. And it could come about in a very powerful, transformative, sort of sudden way where it's very intense. All right, for Aquarius and Aquarius rising. So for you guys, you have the Saturn Mars conjunction in your sign. And so this is the very first sort of taste of how the Saturn transit through Aquarius is going to be going for you. And this is your Saturn reset. You're changing and restructuring who you are as a person. You're changing and restructuring your entire life, from who you are, the way that you show up, your direction in life, to your career path, to your health, to your living situation and family relationships, to your relationships in general. Everything is going to be up for this gradual transformation, this gradual restructuring over these next 3 years. It could feel like you're all of a sudden feeling a lot of weight of responsibility, or you're just feeling the weight of the responsibility that you've already been carrying, and all of a sudden it's overburdening and you just want to get rid of it all at once and change everything all at once, but you can't quite do that yet. And so that you're going to come up against like blockages, hardships, and delays. This could very literally be, people in positions of authority or rules and regulations that challenge your ability to express yourself freely or to move about the world as you please, which is probably not uncommon these days. But where you can find solace is focusing on the things that bring you joy, your hobbies, your passions, the things that you do because you love to do them. If you have children, focus on playing with them, focus on your relationship with your children, because right now that's the area where you're going to find a lot more positive energy. And doing so, focusing on your passions, is actually going to help you to figure out who you want to be and how you want to restructure your reality moving forward. Maybe you were pushing forward into something that wasn't quite right for you, and that was going to cause you more hardship and more responsibility and a lot of issues in the future, and you didn't really realize that. Now that you're taking a step back, you realize this is not in alignment with what I desire. This is not in alignment with what makes me happy and brings me joy. So now's the time to think about what does bring you joy, what does make you happy, and how can you incorporate that in very small, measured ways into your day-to-day reality much more and much more frequently and deliberately. The energy with Mercury and Neptune is happening in Pisces in your second house. And so there could be a lot of confusion or miscommunication around finances. And so you might get weird bills or strange messages, or there could be mistakes being made when it comes to your checking account or something like that. So make sure you're checking on those things. This is also where there could be mixed messages or confusion about your paycheck from your employer or about some sort of financial issue in general. This is not a good time to make major decisions involving your finances, especially if you're making those decisions really logically in a very rational way. This is a good time, if you do have to make a decision involving your financial situation, to do so more intuitively, to trust your intuition, to trust your inner guidance, and to look for those to sort of sit with it and visualize what you want and what outcomes you desire, and to kind of go from there, as opposed to approaching it in a very linear way, in a very chronological way, and in a very logical way. You kind of want to start with the outcome, visualize that, and then kind of fill in the gaps from there. This is also a really great time to visualize what you truly want for yourself financially. What do you want your financial future to look like? What do you want to have financially? What types of resources do you want to have access to, and what do you want to use those for? This is a great time to fantasize about those things, because those fantasies might become reality. You might not have the steps to get there yet, but those will come to you in time. The other thing that's going on is the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction in your 12th house, which is the house of your subconscious mind, dreams, your past life experiences. It's the house of endings. You could have really powerful endings happening right now, to the point where it's so transformative, and it changes the direction and trajectory of your life forever. And that could actually be a positive thing. It could feel like all of a sudden you've had this incredible release, and you've just let go of so many things all at once that were no longer serving you, and that feels really liberating and freeing and empowering. Now's the time to really focus on what you don't want anymore, and to cut that out and to let it go once and for all, because now's the time where you can make those very extreme moves, and you can move on and let go of even really deeply embedded past karma from past life experiences that you no longer want to be carrying with you moving forward. This could also be really powerful, transformative experiences that can come through solitude, seclusion, separation from others, rest, relaxation, spiritual seeking, spiritual practices can be very fruitful right now. And so those types of things can come up for you as well. This is a powerful time where dreams and meditations and other forms of getting visions and getting information from the subconscious mind can bring profound and transformative healing on a psychological level that can translate to physical healing, or that can translate to you resolving and moving on from situations and habits and cycles that you've been stuck on repeating over and over and over again. So now's a time where you can cut that out and let it go once and for all. All right, and that is my forecast for all 12 signs. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like this video, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel, click the like button, and share this video with your friends if you feel like they might benefit from the insight and the information that I shared with you today. And be sure to follow me on Instagram if you're on Instagram. I'm going to be posting a lot of updates as we go along and insight into the astrology of this week, because it is such a big week, and I always do that anyway. So I'll help you guys navigate. I'll do as much as I can to do that, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you guys so much.